Dr. Tommy John, and we've got the 7th exercise of the Spinal Hygiene Routine. There's normally 6. This is kind of a cleanup move for various reasons, which I'll get into. I call it the neurological Zamboni. If anybody knows what a Zamboni is, it's the thing that comes out, the little cart that comes out at the end of a hockey game and clears the ice up. So I feel like our daily activities, whether they're full of sports, activity, or we're sitting down for a majority of our day, or there's traumas, micro-traumas, emotional, intellectual, spiritual trauma, all these things come into our lives. It's like a hockey game on our ice. And there's just lines everywhere, and it just looks like there's just no pattern, there's no health component to it, there's nothing that's really beneficial to it. And I love this exercise as a movement from the movement essential, if we got 8 essentials from the movement side of it, that we come in and that cart goes and just takes hot water and a nice rug in the back and these brushes, and it totally wipes the ice completely clean and prepares it for the next game or next practice. I feel like this exercise is that to our neurology, emotionally, mentally, and then also as a physical means. It's called the cross crawl Supermans. Now, there's many variations of Supermans out there. There are benefits, as I understand. This is the only one I do. And the biggest reason is in that cross crawl word. From the moment we're born, we're trying to do all these things to culminate to us being able to stand and eventually walk. One of the patterns that facilitates walking, and as a side effect, running, jogging, sprinting, cutting, spinning, throwing, is the cross crawl pattern. What's that mean? What that means is when you're standing, as you go to walk, your left leg goes forward, your right arm swings forward. Your right leg goes back, your left arm goes back. It's a cross crawl pattern, meaning lower body one side, upper body opposite side, and they work together. There's many of these connections throughout the body, but this is one of the biggest, most important ones that's responsible for a lot of the actions we do in our life. Not even just sport or competition per se, but it's in our life activities. It's how we adapt to life. And what I've noticed over the last 20 years of me doing this is that we have radically swung to where we don't know how to walk. We don't know how to pattern the cross crawl pattern easily. It should just be automatic. And there's more people when I test them in my office, they don't know how to do it. It glitches. They'll have blips or misfires, I call, or I'll watch people walking and there's no fluidity to how they walk. It's all like rigid and awkward, and nobody knows how to walk anymore. Argument is we excessively swaddle them, we sit them in seats, we don't allow them to crawl or explore. There's none of that crawling as they're going on. There's no more free play outside for the first 9 years of their life for 4 to 6 hours a day. There's none of this natural movement developing these reflexes and these patterns that should come in volume to saturate the nervous system so that it can handle more adult activities. We just get into schools, then we get into sports, and we get into handedness, then we get into this specialized behind screens and all this other stuff. And the pattern, one of the most critical patterns to our survival, is the cross crawl pattern, and it's gone. It's been long forgotten, and it's not focused on enough in training, from my understanding to it, in my opinion. So this exercise right here, not only facilitating protection and strength around the spine, the most important structure in the body, but it also dials in that pattern. Okay, that cross crawl pattern is vital for our survival and our performance in life. So here's how you're gonna do it. You're gonna lay on your stomach, assuming you can, okay? There's variations to ways to do this, where you can lay over an ottoman per se, or you can lay over the edge of a bed, and you can do this. And you can even be sitting up in a chair and get this cross crawl pattern. That's a total another set of exercises. For this one, if you can lay on your stomach, okay? Now, there's a couple different ways to position your head. I love having your chin resting on the ground because that's going to help facilitate the curve of the neck that's more than likely pitched forward because we've been staring at phones for 13 years, okay? So to help reshape that, the ligaments of the neck and spine, as well as train the muscles to hold that position, if we can do chin, that's going to be ideal, but that's very, very, very difficult. So ease into that. The opposite of the chin, or another alternative, is forehead. Okay, so if you can't do the chin comfortably, press your forehead into the ground, but tucked enough so that you can breathe, because you don't want to mash your mouth into the ground. Your arm position, arms overhead, thumbs up. We want to try to keep this as close as we can. It baffles me how many people cannot close this gap right here. They don't have the ability in their shoulders, and their cage is all pitched forward. They don't have any mobility. We should be able to bring our arms right next to our ears and keep that for as long as possible. So try to attend to that, okay? So arms up overhead, chin on the ground. If you can't do chin, forehead on the ground. If you can't bring your arms up, bring them out to the side, or out to the side, or out to the side, or out to the side. If you really can't because of previous injury, put them down by your sides, palms up. Totally fine alternative until you get the strength and awareness and ability to be able to come back up. But this is the absolute expectation, is to be able to put your arms up overhead with your chin on the ground, okay? Now, elbows locked out, so the movement's gonna be at the shoulder. Knees locked out, so the movement's gonna be at the hip. And here's something I do with any chance you get to dorsiflex the feet or pull your toes up, do it. Because you'll see when we get tired and fatigued and sloppy, the error will be to point the toe and almost like try to lose that extension of the knee and just make it all loose and sloppy. And it makes the hip less efficient, okay? So your elbows locked out, thumbs up. Knees locked out, toes pulled up. And what you're gonna do is, you're gonna raise a straight right arm and left leg together, and a left arm, right leg together, straight. And you're just gonna alternate back and forth, like so. Couple things to notice. When we lose mobility here, because we just don't have it yet, the brain tries to lift the chin and the chest and the cage to mimic shoulder action. You're not moving your shoulders at all. You're just moving your spine and doing a back extension. Completely different exercise, which is not what we want to do when we're expecting this movement, okay? Another thing, as you're going, notice the center of my spine is like locked still. As I raise, there's no movement of the four curves of the spine, nor is there movement laterally, like rotationally. So watch this, it's not, but that's what you'll get. You'll get a lot of this shifting because we don't have the mobility or the strength yet to create the action around the shoulders and the hips. We're locked in, we're cemented. We're physically incompetent as of right now, okay? But this is part of what you're trying to do. You're trying to improve upon. And then as you get tired, you're gonna see there's gonna be some more movement. Try to maintain that real still. Breathe through your nose the whole time. Couple of errors I see as well. The brain will try to, when the shoulders and hips get fatigued, it'll try to shorten the lever or make the lever less long. And it'll try to do this. It'll just bend the elbow and bend the knees, and then you're not doing any movement at all, and the brain's like, wait, well, my hands and feet are raising. You're not raising your hands and your feet. You're raising like just above your elbow and just above your knee off the ground. And that's a good way to think of it. You're raising just above your elbow and just above your knee off the ground. Toes dorsiflexed, knees locked out, elbows locked out, thumbs up. The reason I go thumbs up, it just it's a tougher position for the shoulder, for the rotator cuff. It's just an extra challenge. If you need to have palms down, that's cool too. Performing for the allotted time. Now what you're gonna notice is there's something called misfires. So let's say a minimum, what I should see, and this is what I test people on. Anybody over 13 years old, you should be able to do 250 each side in 5 minutes. That's a pretty good clip. That's a good minimum I like people to be at. With no misfires. Watch this. So what I'll see is people will get tired and they'll misfire, or they'll fire same side. And they'll sit there and be like, whoa, whoa. They don't know that they're doing it, but the brain misfires and goes to protect. It doesn't care how it protects, it just does it. These misfires will happen out in life, and you're not really aware of them, but sometimes they're They're as you're going to get a ball and you miss the ball by that much. Or as you go to step and your foot catches and you're like, what the heck? Why did I catch that step? Those are little misfires neurologically that we're barely aware of. We want to eliminate that and be able to execute this movement in the state of fatigue for the number that we want with the intention behind it with zero misfires. You would never spell your name wrong writing it down, so you never want to move inappropriately or misfire. It's not about not doing it as well. The cross crawl Superman is raising. There's a way to execute it. It's just not raising anything any way you want to, as long as you go hard. All right, so there's certain parameters in the beginning. Hold those parameters, stick with them in the face of fatigue for the certain number of reps, sets. Remember the pain rule. Never past the point of pain, even if you're just fluttering because you got herniated discs or whatever. That's fine, as long as you can lay on your stomach and perform it with no increase in symptom, great. Try to breathe through your nose. You're gonna start to panic and things are gonna get tough. Keep the breath through your nose because a panic breath, and the body just doesn't perform as well when we panic. So try to keep the times when we need to panic for those really, really rare moments where we have to take a gulp of air and go. For the most part, in the face of fatigue and stimulus and challenge and despair, keep your breath calm. You'll be able to boost your performance. So the cross crawl Superman, I use a mat. You could, not a soft bed because you'll invert yourself. It'll be real tough because you'll be all curved out. But a hard surface for us leaner folks, females too with hips, the bones of your hips are gonna hit the ground. And because we do this so much, you can kind of get rug burns on your hip bones or they'll get bruised and it's very irritating and it sucks. You could throw a little towel under there if you want, or just like a yoga mat or something like that. In the grass, in the sand, really good environments to do so. But the cross crawl Superman, never past the point of pain, perform the number of reps and sets or time or whatever, explore, experiment with it, have fun with it, never stop moving.